Welcome back to my channel. I am, of course, Nick Dutch, the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch, professional tarot reader extraordinaire, and general all-round decent bloke in every possible way. And today, what I'm going to be doing, I could say we, obviously you're not doing it, you're sitting there watching me. I don't know why I use language like that. I guess it makes it seem like you're more involved, which is probably a good thing. Either way, okay, we'll stick with that. What we are going to do today, I know it makes it sound like I'm a primary school teacher talking to about it, like a 3-year-old, and saying we're going to start doing face painting or finger painting or something. But despite the fact that that phrase is a little bit patronizing, let's get on with the work of today, because I'm telling you about a perspective I've got with how tarot could possibly be used. There is one thing which I don't do professionally in my readings anymore, and that is to provide time frames. Okay, not in the same way that I did before. One of the reasons for this is because in my earlier days, when I did provide time frames, like, people would quite habitually circle a date on their calendar, and hey presto, if it didn't happen by 6 o'clock p.m. on that one particular day, they'll get either back on the phone or the chat with me, or send me an email, tell me how terrible I am, give me a lousy 1-star feedback. And what would traditionally happen is, after a period of time, they'll turn around and say, like, okay, it didn't happen when you said it would, but it did kind of like happen, and I'm sorry. Alright, there's a big issue with attempting to divine time frames. Why would people want to know time frames? Well, it's a question of when is it going to happen? When is my boyfriend going to propose to me? When is my girlfriend going to leave her boyfriend? When am I going to end up in a good relationship? When am I going to sell the house? These are the kind of questions people do tend to ask. Not all of the questions, because a lot of them are much more deep, complicated, nuanced, and more appropriate to the work at hand, to be honest. However, that same mentality of when, it's there in people's minds. So maybe actually doing this one particular video where I'm going to take a look at ways in which one could hypothetically divine time frames using tarot. Okay, let's just think about it, shall we? If, let's say, this is just hypothetical, when you're laying out a reading, what you're doing is you're laying out actors on a stage. What you're doing is you're laying down a story over time. And so a sequential progression left to right could easily be a poetic expression of the changes or energetic changes happening in someone's life, couldn't they? So let's say what you wanted to do was have a look over the next 12 months and see whether there's going to be a house move coming along, or whether there's going to be something material world coming along which could be of interest to you. Lay out your 12 cards. One for each month of the year, in sequence. Label them in your mind's eye. Set your intention that for this particular experience you're creating, these cards do mean the individual months from today's date. Turn them over one at a time. And when one of them is of the right suit associated with the material world, or to do with property, or to do with that sort of thing, then you can say there's something interesting hypothetically happening at that time of the year associated with that particular element within their lives. Does that make sense? Of course it does. But you don't have to go on 12 months. You could do 4 cards, one for each season of the year. And that becomes a little bit more fuzzy logic, doesn't it? Because you're not trying to go into precision as to what's going to happen on each and every single month throughout the year. What you're doing is you're saying there's forms of changes which is going to happen at different segments of the year. And it becomes, okay, so this looks like it's going to be coming into your life. This opportunity, this energy, this something or other, or maybe that is an auspicious time to start doing something productive when it comes to getting your career sorted out, or your house move, or if it's like a cup symbol, maybe it's something associated with your relationship life, your social interaction life. If it's something to do with the suit of staves, maybe that's something to do with the challenges that you're going through when it comes to conflict with others. And also finding ways to succeed and achieve, or to build up skill. Remember, the suit of staves deals with sport. And it's there for a symbol of a challenge, it's there for a symbol of artistic endeavor, If you think about it, the professional footballers, they're working on themselves, they're getting themselves physically fit, they're improving their perception, their understanding, and how they can, I don't know, score goals, take penalties. It's an art form. So therefore, there's something about maybe that time of the year when you've got the staff cards coming out that is related to that sort of thing. Does that make sense? Same with the major arcanas as well. All right, but traditionally speaking, the major arcanas would be more to do with the psychological worlds, the sense of some kind of change of possibly hypothetical spiritual energy in your existence, and stuff like that. Okay, matters of how the higher levels operate and influence the lower levels. Maybe it's just a question of a flash of inspiration. Maybe it's a question of some kind of change of emotional response associated with a particular thing which is important to you at that time. That's like a broad, very broad definition as to what the mages could be talking about, if that makes any sense to you. I don't know whether it does or doesn't. Then another thing that you could do is in fact not use the cards at all in the traditional sense and just lay them out with the backs showing, just the backs, not the fronts, the backs. And instead you can use your pendulum to scan over each and every single month or quarter and see which one provides you with the strongest reaction. All right, so the way in which you approach this can be very different for each time. I don't think it's a good idea to do your readings too frequently for yourself. There are some people who've done readings like every day or every week, or indeed many times a day, and they would like put the responsibility of all of their decision making onto the tarot and not up to their minds and their thoughts and thinking things through and trying to understand things through just settling down with a nice cup of tea or coffee and trying to work things out or discussing it with a friend. So that's part of the problem of people who do readings for themselves and eventually can become addicted to you doing tarot readings, and it stops them from thinking things through, which is not a good thing. All right, tarot readings are an addition to your creative problem solving process. It is not a replacement, which is something I need to bring home to some of you people quite strongly. However, there is a reason that this is a very popular industry. There is a reason I'm making a living doing this, and I've been doing that now 16 years. And that is because it is useful, it is important, it helps people, and the action of being a professional tarot reader does people some good. I believe this very strongly. I wanted to do people good when I started in this trade, and it still carries on. I mean, I'm still providing help, support, assistance, encouragement, advice, you name it. All right, but let's get back onto time frames. I'm very good at digressing and getting on my high horse about stuff, but never mind. So let me just do this as a hypothetical thing. All right, not as if you're my client, but if you get something from this reading, I could I'll lay out a few cards and then I'll interpret them as well. And if that helps you, then that helps you, and that'll be a good thing. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, do we have a deal? Do we have an agreement? Of course we do. Of course we do. Of course we do. So let's say I was trying to answer the question, when am I going to end up in a romantic relationship? Okay, looking at it over the quarters of the year. And already I would say this would be very optimistic because you got a cup symbol coming out straight away as the first card. So that's very good. It would concern me that that is reversed. Well, not concern me because I won't look at the readings and react extraordinarily emotionally because I've got the wrong cards coming up for what I wanted to have and it's all going to be shit. No, shush, just shush, just shush. Okay, there's no need to think like that. No need to think like that at all. And instead, we're just going to look at this intuitively and the rest of that. But again, something interesting happening romantically during the first quarter of the year from today's date. So that's between 2 and 4 months because we're dealing with a rough and approximate time frames, not something precise and cut in stone. Then with the second period, the second quarter of the year, that would actually be considered to be a very good sign because you've got your 4 pentagrams. If you know roughly what it looks like on the Crowley Thoth Tarot, you'll remember that's got an image associated with like a building, like an ancient medieval keep. So there's a sense of strength and power and process there. But that's reversed too. Okay, so something romantic happening, might be successful, might not be. There may be something curious you'll need to adjust in order to try and make it work out right. So therefore, romance, yes, but a bit of work which needs to be done. Which sounds an awful lot like one of my recent exes. Ugh. Oh, don't go there. Don't go there, okay? Just don't go there. But if this entire reading was based upon romance, then maybe something more stable and more mature and more critical of the fantasy of being in a relationship is going to come after that. So I would say something interesting is happening there, then something a bit more stable, down to earth, grounded is going to happen there, but also with a strong feeling, because of the reversal, that it's not a question of an even flow. You know, my vision of what it means to be in a relationship, if this was a relationship reading, will go through a change. And that is important because some people get fixated on various different folk myths within our community of the soulmate, of the twin flame, of the this, that, and the other. And they misinterpret what is a twin flame or a soulmate because they've read some books which has given them one particular interpretation and everything like, oh my God, that's got to be it, that's got to be it, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. No, no, no. That's a guideline. That's a mythology. That's a poetic expression of reality. It's not necessarily 100% cast in stone on the fifth level of the auric field or whatever it is. You know, we can't think like that because there's too many things we don't know. Then, Queen of Cups. A senior, mature female energy, maybe. Also associated with romance. Maybe it's a question of you're looking at the wrong age of individual, maybe you're looking at the wrong experience of individual, maybe you're looking at the wrong cultural background of individual for yourself. You got the image of an owl there, which is associated with wisdom. In reality, they're not very wise creatures, they just look it, okay? But the fact of the matter is, you know, it's an expression of wisdom, and also therefore another message associated with maybe a wiser interpretation of what a relationship life could actually be, is what you're learning through during this one particular year. And finally, this one's interesting because having a sense of conflict coming out, which is what the sword suit deals with, conflict, but having that reverse could in fact be bringing about peace. You see what I mean? Something bringing about peace. Where is that peace coming from? It's a different state of mind. It's a different way of looking at life. It's a different perspective, which is essentially what all the other signs have been alluding to. So if you were asked, if this was like your reading that you wanted me to do and I'd done that, you were probably thinking like, oh God, nothing good's going to happen. I'm going to be spending my entire life single and everything's terrible, 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 I tell you. No, shut up. Literally just shut up. Alright, this is speaking about this being a journey of growth through a year. Now, if you're watching this and some of this means something to you based upon your previous year, the year just gone up to today's date, maybe there's still something there which is actually of interest and of use to you in the fact that you yourself have already moved forward. And now something big and interesting is going to happen. But there is this weird thing about this one particular reading. It's not providing a sense of closure. It's not providing a sense of an end. So when you've got that kind of situation, you've got a spread which is not giving you the full closure. It's okay to turn over one more card. And this one also, is curious. Now, I see the number 3 as being not only divine and holy and peaceful and beneficial and useful, but it's also rather complicated. Something interesting is coming out of all of the inner conflict and inner journeys you're going through during this time, which is going to give you much more perspective and make you much more grounded. So I'd say the appearance of the 3 is actually like a lucky charm. Okay, the card is reversed, but the power of the 3 is so engaged with all forms of spiritual cultures that it doesn't necessarily emotionally feel to me as if that's actually a bad thing. Alright? It may be you've got some regrets about what's happened. It may be you've got some regrets about decisions which have been made. Maybe the perspective you've got as a result of everything you've been through has led you to this time and place of clarity. Does that make sense? It could do. Alright? So either maybe you're looking at this new year of growth or you're looking back on this year of growth, and you're now in a position to make a new decision. Just for S's and G's, shall we say, let's do another spread as to what's going to happen after that 1 year. Okay, looking very interesting, looking quite good. Forgive me, I got a bit of a cough there. Okay, the most salient one would of course be the Hanged Man. But the Hanged Man deals with treachery in its traditional interpretation, but it also deals with letting go of some things, a sense of sacrifice, a sense of giving something up so you can get something else back, and a sense of doing things so that the order of your society can actually progress. So making a decision which does seem to be helping you is part and parcel of what will follow this one particular year. Alright, and we got some strong female symbols coming in there, and strong signs of stability, including economically. And the Five of Wands is reminding you you've got some complexity or conflict there, but it's nothing really major. Alright, so look after yourself. I hope you've enjoyed looking at this from a time frame point of view, and thinking things through in terms of how you can design a reading for that purpose. This has been the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch. Don't forget to click subscribe, click the bell, click the thumbs up, click on my channel name, and go to my About Me page, and if something there rings a bell to you, then click on it. Also consider going to the videos page on my channel and using the search facility and searching for anything that's out there and seeing if anything there floats your boat, because there's always going to be something fun from the world of the weird to search for on Nick Dutch's channel. And I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon with more wonderful talk about tarot and runes and Ouija boards and crystal balls. And yeah, I might do another video just about the crystal ball, just for to enhance your thoughts on the crystal ball and what that's really there for. Speak to you in a bit. Nick Dutch out.